Welcome, Warcraft fans and strategy nerds, to the Warcraft 3 build order builder, or short, WC3 Bob. This is basically an economy simulation for the strategy game Warcraft 3, where you can test out certain build orders and without having to reload a custom game, a bot game, over and over again, wait for the buildings to finish, for the production to finish, and see how your build works out. So, for now, we start here in the start management, where we can first of all pick our race. And as I am an orc player, I will make this showcase with the orcs. So, as you may have noticed, the icons are not the original icons, as I don't want to get in any trouble about intellectual property. But I think they are kind of fitting, and one will get used to it fairly quickly. Okay, next up in the starting management are your starting workers. By default, and as this is the case in the majority of all build orders, we send all our peons or other workers onto the gold mine. So by default this is 5, but you can change this as well, have one on lumber if you're fancy, or have a scout maybe if you want to, if you're playing against random and want to know what race they have up front. But for now we just go with 5 on gold. So, last thing here is zoom. As we will work in this timeline a lot, we can customize this, stretch it out, or shrink it in for a bit more overview. We'll keep the 4 pixels per second for now. And yeah, then we're done with the start management. So, next up is this area up here. We can customize this as well, make it a bit larger. Where we have on the left hand side all our buildings, and we can drag and drop it onto the timeline, but we cannot pick buildings which requirements are not met. So if we now pick the Warmill for example, now the watchtower is available, and if you've seen here in the production area, the Warmill pops up and you can do all the upgrades from the Warmill. So if we now pick the watchtower, we can build it over here when the Warmill is done, but if we want to put it here before the Warmill is done, this is not possible. Even though we double tap it, double click, we'll schedule it at as early as possible. So, you've seen the requirements here are important, and if we don't build the Warmill, you see the watchtower becomes red, and you have a warning that there's something wrong in your build order. So, starting off, usually we start off with some workers. Now we build our peons. As you can see, now we have 6 peons in production. And in this area, in the resource row, you can see your resources change, the time, of course, and your gold, lumber, food, your army, your workers, and what they're doing currently. Your heroes, units, items, and buildings. Right at the start, we have 5 workers and a great hall. Producing now, we have a 6th worker here, and by default, the 6th worker goes to lumber. For convenience reasons, and as I think this is for most build orders the case, new workers or workers that are that get free from when they're done constructing something, by default they will fill up the gold mine to 5. And if there are 5 workers on the gold mine, or 10 if you have an expansion, this should work as well, they will go to lumber by default. right? See here, as we progress through the timeline, you see all the workers go to lumber. If you're fancy and you want, right from the get-go, send one worker after 5 seconds, for example, from gold to lumber, you go to this special actions transfer workers, which is right under your workers. And now we can see here we have 5 on gold, and after this special action is invoked, we have 4 on gold and 1 went to lumber. So now when the next worker finishes, he will fill up the gold mine to 5, and then the next will go to lumber. Okay, this is it for the worker management. Let's progress now with our actual build order. So first of all, I want my Altar of Storms. I can double tap it, then it starts right from the get-go. And now I want my Orc Burrow. I don't want it right from the get-go. I want it when my first peon that comes out, I want it to produce this Orc Burrow. There's no special, this worker is put onto this building and this worker onto this building. It just calculates what the workers are doing and how resources are gathered, or idle workers, constructing workers, and so on. So now that we got our altar and another Orc Burrow, we can first of all build our 7th lumber peon. Then we are good with that. And with the Altar of Storms in the production area, now we can get a hero. The 4 Orc heroes and of course the Tavern heroes that don't have icons yet, but we're working on that. Now we go with the Blade Master. Blade Master can only be produced when the Orc Burrow is finished and the supply is available. And we want a barracks produced by the 2nd peon that comes out and have a grunt from the barracks. So, as in this build order, the Blade Master and the grunt have no capacity for healing and have no summons if you don't go the mirror image build. We want a voodoo launch to compensate for that. Let's have it like this. Get a voodoo launch by double tapping. We'll place it right on the start. And you can see several items now are red and cannot be produced. But the program thinks, right, at the start, we have enough resources to produce the voodoo launch. But, yeah, have an issue with the other things. So what I do, by progressing in a timely manner, right, from the left to the right, building up the build order, I like dragging it from the right-hand side to the left. And now you can see here, the voodoo launch detaches from the yellow bar. That means in this area the voodoo launch cannot be built. And we can see here 117 gold. That cannot work, that's not enough. But right here, when we have 130 gold for the voodoo launch, it is enough and you can have it. Okay, when the launch finishes, I want some healing salves. Let's go with a lesser clarity because we are harassing, and of course I'm orc, I want a speed scroll. And then we can go and get the stronghold. Now have another Orc Burrow, right? I'm going from the right hand side. Super late because I bought a lot of items. My Orc Burrow is probably pretty late, right? So maybe I don't need the speed scroll, right? So I can have it a bit earlier, or maybe I want it towards the Orc Burrow here, and then like the clarity a bit later, or not even a clarity, maybe just enough with a healing self. Do what pleases you. But for this build order now, we just start like this. Okay, this being done, we have another burrow. I want more grunts. Grunts. Grunts, grunts, grunts. And before the end of my tech, of course, I would like to have another oak burrow, right? So now I can place my cursor here and see, okay, I have around 600 gold at the end of my tech. That's fairly good. I can get my Shadow Hunter and have a Spirit Lodge. And now I'm down this the perfect money to have these, to have these 2 purchases for tier 2. And now we can go on producing shamans. As in this build order, I want 6 grunts, 5 shamans. And I'm prioritizing the shamans because I can build them only later. And have another orc burrow. So I have 50 supply. Can do it here. And get more grunts. This is a bit too early. Maybe want the grunt before the orc burrow because I have enough supply even to get more grunts. And more grunts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grunts. Yes. And now when we go to the end, after the last shaman, we see we got 50 supply. Everything's fine. 12 workers, exactly the right number. So let's have the Shaman Adept upgrade and have a nice, like what this is, an 8-minute timing, delayed. So we can line up the attack, go over to our enemy. In this, well, we have a lot of gold at this point. So maybe we want to purchase some more items, right? So let's have some boots for our Blade Master, right? I like must have some boots here. And maybe Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. And Scroll of Healing. Why not? Scroll of Protection, Scroll of Healing. Why not have some items over here? Like right before I go, I can just on the way purchase them. So now I spent all my resources, most of my resources, at the 8-minute mark. Have a strong army, have my heroes lined up, have very early timing. And right, yeah, that's it. So this is how this tool works for you. I'm sure there are people who will have a lot of fun tinkering around with it. I think this is very, very convenient and visible view on what you got at certain timings. So for the end of this video, I would like to introduce 2 more features. First one is, now you got done all your work here and you are happy, then you can save your build order down here. Let's call this Blade Master, Shadow Hunter, Grunt, Shaman, build order 1. Then export this as a JSON file. And now when we reset everything, we can just import to have our build order, and here it is. Now you can progress on this if you want to make some changes, or if you want to send it to your friends, so you can share your build orders in a nice manner. The second and last feature that is very important for me is the feedback feature. This is in a very early state, and I would love to have some feedback from you, what to improve on, what new features to add, how you like it. I'm a very low MMR player, even though I'm a great fan. And yeah, maybe for high-level plays, for pro plays, maybe even you have some other needs that I don't know about it, that I cannot even imagine as the noob that I am. And then you can give me feedback over here. Enter your name and say some valid critique, right? And send it to me. I will be very happy. And yes, I hope this will help you in your Warcraft 3 journey. I hope you have fun, good luck, and good games. See you!